Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into some profound lessons straight from my grandfather's diary, wisdom passed down through the years that can change your perspective on life. These lessons are timeless, and they've helped me navigate everything from friendships to finding happiness. So, if you're ready to learn some simple but powerful truths about resilience, growth, and making the most of our time, stick around until the end. And hey, if you're enjoying this kind of content, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, give this video a thumbs up, and let me know your favorite piece of wisdom in the comments. Let's get started. Section 1. The fragility of friendship and the strength of resilience. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where a close friend suddenly becomes distant, or even worse, turns against you? My grandfather always reminded me, love a friend remembering that he can become an enemy, and hate an enemy remembering that he can become a friend. Life is unpredictable, and the dynamics between people can change in an instant. Relationships are fragile, they shift and evolve based on circumstances, emotions, and misunderstandings. This simple yet powerful piece of wisdom teaches us to treat both friends and enemies with balance. Don't overinvest your heart in anger, nor put someone on a pedestal without considering their flaws. My grandfather also had a golden rule: never discuss money with those who have much more or much less than you. It's not about avoiding financial topics entirely, but about recognizing the sensitivities people have regarding wealth. Money can create walls, jealousy, or discomfort. When you understand that someone's perspective on wealth is deeply personal, it can save a lot of awkwardness and misunderstandings. It's one of those life lessons that seems small until you find yourself in a room where the topic comes up, and you feel the energy shift. Another one that really resonates with me is, a healthy man wants 1,000 things, a sick man only wants one. Isn't that the truth? When you're healthy, you feel limitless, your mind overflows with dreams and ambitions. But the moment you're unwell, everything shrinks to just one thought: getting better. It's a stark reminder that our health is the foundation of everything we want to achieve. The next time you find yourself frustrated over something trivial, pause and appreciate your health. It's easy to take for granted until it's not there. Cherishing life and saving emotions for the right time. One of the most poetic things my grandfather ever wrote was about tears. He said, "Save your children's tears so they can shed them on your grave." At first, it might sound morbid, but when you think about it, it's beautiful. It means, live your life in a way that keeps your loved ones from sorrow while you're alive. They'll cry for you when you're gone, and those tears will be full of love and memories, not regrets or pain caused by your actions. He also believed in the simple power of a smile. Smile a lot, it costs nothing and is beyond price. This one seems almost too obvious, right? But the truth is, the value of a smile is immeasurable. It's a universal sign of warmth, connection, and understanding. When you smile at someone, you create an instant bridge between you and them, a moment of human connection that costs absolutely nothing. Whether it's a stranger, a colleague, or a loved one, a smile can disarm tension, brighten a day, or even change someone's outlook on life. It's such a simple thing, but it's often overlooked in our rush to get through each day. Time, words, and opportunity, the three things you can't get back. My grandfather was big on the idea of appreciating the irreversible nature of time. He used to say, 3 things never come back: time, words, and opportunity. Therefore, do not waste time, choose words, and do not miss the opportunity. It's funny how often we underestimate the value of a single moment until it's past, or we don't realize how hurtful our words can be until they've already left our lips. And opportunities? Well, they're slippery, aren't they? They come unannounced, and if we hesitate too long, they're gone. This is why it's crucial to act, to choose words with intention, and to make the most of the time we have. Sometimes, that means taking a risk, other times it means holding back an impulsive comment. Life is full of those small yet pivotal moments where a split-second decision can shape the rest of your journey. On simplicity and necessity. Another golden nugget: buy not what you need, but what is necessary. It's a great reminder in a world full of overconsumption and clutter. My grandfather believed in having what was necessary, not the flashy new gadget or the extra thing that ends up collecting dust in the closet. It's about prioritizing the essentials and avoiding unnecessary wants that only weigh you down, financially and mentally. Living simply allows you to focus on what's truly important: relationships, growth, and experiences. He also said, in a loved one, either correct the vices or endure them. If you fix it, your partner will be better, and if you endure it, you will be better yourself. This one's a bit tricky, and it took me a while to fully understand it. It's essentially about love and patience. If you can help your loved one grow by pointing out their vices, do so with care. But sometimes, the best thing you can do is learn to accept their flaws. Nobody is perfect, and sometimes acceptance is more powerful than correction. It makes you a stronger, more compassionate person. The funniest people are the saddest ones. Have you ever noticed how the people who make you laugh the most often carry the heaviest burdens? My grandfather always said, the funniest people are the saddest ones. Humor is often a mask, a way to cope with personal pain. It's a reminder to be kind, even to those who seem like they have it all together. Laughter is an incredible tool for spreading joy, but behind the jokes, there can be struggles that nobody else sees. It's so important to reach out and check on those who seem like they're always the ones cheering everyone else up. Paths to knowledge. Finally, my grandfather talked about the 3 paths that lead to knowledge: reflection, imitation, and experience. He used to say, the path of reflection is the noblest, the path of imitation is the easiest, and the path of experience is the most bitter. Reflection allows you to learn from observation and thought. It's the path of wisdom. Imitation is easy because it requires no deep thinking, you just copy what others do. But the most profound lessons often come from experience, and those experiences can be tough. They shape you in ways nothing else can. Experience may be bitter, but it's also irreplaceable. It's where true understanding is born. That wraps up the first part of our journey through my grandfather's diary. I hope these insights resonated with you. Remember to share in the comments which of these lessons speaks to you the most. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss the rest of these life-changing lessons. 2. The power of trust, self-reliance, and living modestly. Another key lesson from my grandfather's diary is about trust. People will disappoint you, so never put all your trust in anyone. It sounds harsh, but when you think about it, it's a call to balance. Trust is important, but giving someone complete control over your happiness or decisions can leave you vulnerable. People, even with the best intentions, make mistakes, change their minds, or sometimes let you down without meaning to. This doesn't mean you should be cynical or distrustful of everyone, but rather that you should maintain a level of independence. Keep a part of your emotional well-being in your own hands, so you always have the ability to stay strong, no matter what others do. My grandfather believed in working hard, but he was also realistic. Hard work doesn't always guarantee success, but laziness almost certainly guarantees failure. We've all heard the motivational slogans about hard work, but the truth is that sometimes, even with hard work, things don't go as planned. That doesn't mean the effort is wasted. Hard work builds character, opens doors, and teaches you resilience, even if it doesn't always lead to the outcome you imagined. On the other hand, doing nothing and expecting good things to happen is a surefire way to get stuck. He also reminded me that true happiness doesn't come from outside validation. You'll never be truly happy if you constantly seek validation from others. In today's world of social media, it's easy to fall into the trap of wanting likes, comments, and shares to feel valued. But my grandfather's wisdom cuts through all that noise. The real source of happiness is within. When you depend on others for your sense of worth, you give them power over your emotions. Cultivate your own sense of self-worth, one that's unshakable regardless of what anyone else thinks. Embracing change and finding the right environment. Another insightful lesson is about growth and change. If you are the smartest person in the room, then you are in the wrong room. This is a powerful reminder that growth comes from being challenged, not from always being the best. If you surround yourself with people who push you to be better, you'll constantly learn and improve. It can be intimidating to be around people who are smarter or more skilled than you, but that's where real growth happens. It's not about competition, it's about learning and pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. He also talked about modesty. The superior man is modest in his speech but exceeds in his actions. It's easy to talk a big game, to boast about your plans or accomplishments. But what really matters is action. My grandfather taught me that the loudest person in the room is rarely the most accomplished. True strength comes from quiet confidence and letting your actions speak for themselves. Modesty isn't about downplaying your achievements, but rather about focusing more on what you do than on what you say. One of my favorite pieces of wisdom from him is, there are 1,000 lessons in defeat, but only one in victory. Losing can be tough, but it's where the most growth happens. When you win, it's easy to move on without reflection. But when you lose, you're forced to face your weaknesses, to rethink your strategies, and to learn. There's so much value in defeat if you're willing to see it. It builds resilience and teaches you how to adapt, which is crucial for long-term success. No one owes you anything. No one owes you anything, you have to work for what you want in life. This was one of the harder lessons to accept, but it's one of the most important. It's easy to feel like the world is unfair when things don't go your way. But my grandfather's words remind me that expecting handouts or feeling entitled only leads to disappointment. Life is about taking responsibility and putting in the effort to create the life you want. There's freedom in understanding that you are responsible for your own path, and that blaming others won't get you anywhere. Another hard truth, in life, there are things we don't want to happen but have to accept, things we don't want to know but have to learn, and people we can't live without but have to let go. Life is full of moments that challenge us to accept what we cannot change. Whether it's losing a loved one, facing a difficult truth, or letting go of someone who's no longer meant to be in your life, acceptance is key. It's not about giving up, it's about finding peace with what is beyond your control. The second life begins when we realize the first is finite. We have 2 lives, and the second begins when we realize we only have one. This is one of those powerful realizations that changes everything. So many of us go through life without really thinking about how precious time is. We get caught up in trivial problems, petty arguments, and worries that, in the grand scheme of things, don't matter. My grandfather's words remind me that there's a moment when you truly understand that life is finite, and that's when you begin to truly live. When you grasp how limited your time is, you start making choices that bring you fulfillment, instead of wasting time on things that don't. Another quote that always stuck with me, if they spit at you behind your back, it means you're ahead of them. It's a reminder not to be discouraged by criticism or negativity from others. Sometimes, when you're doing well, people will try to bring you down. It's often a reflection of their own insecurities rather than anything about you. If you're facing criticism, especially when it's unwarranted, take it as a sign that you're making progress. Advice is easy to give, hard to accept. We accept advice in drops but distribute it in buckets. Isn't that the truth? It's so easy to tell others what they should do, but when it comes to taking advice ourselves, we often resist. My grandfather's words are a gentle reminder to be more open to the wisdom that others share with us. Listening to advice doesn't mean you have to follow it blindly, but being receptive can open you up to perspectives you hadn't considered. Sometimes, the advice we resist the most is the advice we need the most. He also taught me about the value of self-worth. Your self-worth is non-negotiable. Never settle for anything or anyone that diminishes it. This is something I think a lot of people struggle with. We settle for less because we don't believe we deserve more. Whether it's in relationships, work, or even how we treat ourselves, it's crucial to recognize our own value. Settling for less than you deserve slowly eats away at your confidence and happiness. Knowing your worth means setting boundaries and not compromising on things that matter to your well-being. Learning to say no and moving forward. Another valuable lesson, learn to say no without feeling guilty. It protects your time and priorities. Saying no is hard, especially if you're someone who likes to help others. But my grandfather always emphasized that saying no is essential for maintaining balance. You can't pour from an empty cup, And if you're constantly giving in to everyone else's demands, you end up neglecting your own needs. Learning to say no, kindly but firmly, is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. Finally, he wrote, maybe you are not healing because you're trying to be who you were before. That person doesn't exist anymore. This one hit me hard the first time I read it. We often try to go back to how things were before something difficult happened, trying to find that old version of ourselves. But the truth is, every experience changes us, and trying to go backward only hinders growth. Embrace who you are now, after everything you've been through, and move forward from there. It's about allowing yourself to evolve and recognizing that the person you are now has the strength and wisdom that the old version of you didn't. That's it for this part of the journey through my grandfather's wisdom. If you're finding value in these lessons, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment about which lesson impacted you the most. 3. Forgiveness, letting go, and facing life's challenges. Moving on to the next set of lessons, one of my grandfather's most impactful pieces of advice was, forgive, but do not forget, or you will be hurt again. Forgiveness is powerful. It's about releasing the burden of resentment, which ultimately benefits you more than the person who wronged you. But he made it clear, forgive, but remember the lesson. Forgetting leaves you vulnerable to being hurt in the same way again. Holding on to the memory doesn't mean you're holding a grudge, it means you're protecting yourself from falling into the same trap twice. Another insight he shared is, life always waits for some crisis to occur before revealing itself at its most brilliant. Isn't it true that sometimes, we don't really discover our own strength until we're forced to? My grandfather believed that crises aren't just obstacles, they are also opportunities. They push us out of our comfort zones and help us grow in ways we never thought possible. When you're in the middle of a tough situation, it can be hard to see anything but the struggle. But once you get through it, you often realize just how strong you truly are. He also pointed out that everyone seems to have a clear idea of how other people should lead their lives, but none about his or her own. This one is painfully accurate. People are often quick to judge or give advice about someone else's situation, but they rarely take the time to reflect on their own choices. It's always easier to see other people's flaws and shortcomings. This reminder from my grandfather helps me stay focused on myself, to work on my own growth instead of wasting energy worrying about what others are doing. Beware of false friends. The worst kinds of enemies are those who pretend to be your friends. My grandfather was a great judge of character, and he knew the importance of surrounding yourself with genuine people. Fake friends are the most dangerous because they know your weaknesses and they pretend to care. They're close enough to hurt you deeply when you least expect it. It's crucial to pay attention to actions rather than words. Genuine friends lift you up, while false ones often drag you down, subtly or otherwise. Protecting your circle and being mindful of who you let in is an important part of safeguarding your well-being. Another piece of advice he gave was, never decide what you can or cannot do based on your lowest points in life. We all go through moments when we feel like failures, when nothing seems to work out. It's in these moments that self-doubt creeps in, convincing us that we're not capable of achieving our dreams. But my grandfather's wisdom reminds me that those moments don't define us. Decisions made in a state of despair are rarely wise ones. Always wait until you're in a more balanced place before deciding what you're capable of. You'll be surprised at how much you can achieve once you're no longer weighed down by temporary setbacks. Embracing solitude and facing mortality. If you are never alone, you cannot know yourself. This is one of my favorite lessons because it's so true. In today's world, we're constantly connected, always surrounded by people or distracted by our phones, social media, or TV. But my grandfather believed in the importance of solitude. Spending time alone allows you to reflect, to understand your thoughts, feelings, and desires without outside influence. It's in those quiet moments that you truly get to know yourself, your strengths, your fears, your dreams. Solitude isn't loneliness, it's a necessary part of self-discovery. He also said, only put off until tomorrow what you are willing to die having left undone. This one might sound a bit grim, but it's a powerful reminder of how precious our time is. Procrastination is something we all struggle with, but my grandfather's words remind me that tomorrow isn't promised. If there's something important you want to do, something that will bring you joy, fulfillment, or growth, don't put it off. Life is unpredictable, and we never know how much time we have left. Living with a sense of urgency, not in a panicked way, but in a way that values each moment, can make a huge difference in how you experience life. Emotional balance and decision-making. Another lesson that has stuck with me is, avoid making decisions when you're angry, and avoid making promises when you're happy. Emotions are powerful, and they can cloud our judgment. When we're angry, we might say or do things we regret later, and when we're happy, we might make promises we can't keep. My grandfather's advice is to wait until you're in a calm, balanced state before making important decisions or commitments. It's about taking a step back, giving yourself time to think, and ensuring that your choices are grounded in logic rather than emotion. He also spoke about maturity. Maturity is when you have the power to destroy someone who did you wrong, but you just breathe, walk away, and let life take care of them. This one speaks to the power of restraint. It's easy to seek revenge when someone hurts you, but true strength lies in letting go and trusting that life will bring justice in its own time. Walking away doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're strong enough to rise above the situation, to not let someone else's actions dictate your behavior. It's about taking the high road, even when it's difficult. Love, patience, and letting go. Remember that a successful marriage depends on two things: 1, finding the right person, and 2, being the right person. This is such an important piece of advice, not just for marriage, but for any meaningful relationship. Finding the right person is only half the equation. You also have to be willing to grow, to be patient, and to work on yourself. Relationships aren't about perfection, they're about two imperfect people coming together and choosing to make it work, day after day. It's about being the best version of yourself for your partner and encouraging them to do the same. He also said, life sometimes separates people so that they can realize how much they mean to each other. Separation can be incredibly painful, but it often brings clarity. When you're apart from someone you love, you gain a new perspective on your relationship. You realize the value they add to your life, the ways in which they make you better. Sometimes, distance is necessary to truly understand what someone means to you, and when you're reunited, the bond is even stronger. Living with intentionality. Close some doors, not because of pride, incapacity, or arrogance, but simply because they no longer lead somewhere. This is such an important lesson about moving on. There are times in life when we need to let go of things that no longer serve us, relationships, jobs, habits. It's not always easy, and it might feel like giving up, but it's really about growth. Holding on to something that no longer has a positive place in your life can hold you back. Letting go creates space for new opportunities, new experiences, and new growth. Another powerful piece of advice is, if you're brave enough to say goodbye, life will reward you with a new hello. Endings are difficult, whether it's a relationship, a job, or a chapter of your life. But every ending makes way for a new beginning. It takes courage to let go of what's familiar, even if it's no longer right for you. But when you do, you create room for something better, something that aligns with who you are now and who you want to become. Moving forward with strength. My grandfather also believed in the importance of resilience. Life has a way of testing a person's will, either by having nothing happen at all or by having everything happen at once. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes it feels like everything is going wrong at the same time, while other times it feels like nothing is happening at all. Both situations are challenging in their own ways. During the quiet times, it's easy to feel restless or lost, and during the chaotic times, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. My grandfather's wisdom taught me to stay steady through both, to keep moving forward, regardless of the circumstances. The harder your life becomes, the faster you will reach your goals. This might sound counterintuitive, but it's about the value of struggle. The more challenges you face, the stronger you become, and the closer you get to your goals. It's in those difficult moments that you find out what you're truly capable of. Each obstacle is an opportunity to grow, to push yourself further, and to build the resilience needed to achieve your dreams. That wraps up part 3 of my grandfather's life-changing lessons. If you're enjoying this journey through his wisdom, please make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like this video, and share your favorite lesson in the comments. Let's keep learning and growing together. 4. The value of moderation, discipline, and the journey of self-improvement. One of the central themes in my grandfather's teachings was moderation. He often said, "Lead a moderate and sober life if you wish to be independent." In a world where we are constantly pushed to consume more, to do more, and to be more, moderation can feel like a lost art. But my grandfather knew that a moderate approach to life brings balance. It's about enjoying the things you love without letting them control you. Whether it's food, work, relationships, or even ambition, too much of anything can lead to stress and dependency. Living moderately allows you to maintain control over your life and gives you the freedom to make choices that truly align with your values. He also emphasized the importance of discipline. Discipline yourself to save money, it's essential to success. Financial discipline isn't just about saving money, it's about creating security and independence. My grandfather grew up during times when money was scarce, and he learned firsthand the value of saving. He taught me that discipline isn't always about denying yourself, it's about making choices today that will benefit you in the long run. Financial freedom comes from consistently saving, from resisting the urge to spend on unnecessary things, and from understanding that wealth isn't about showing off but about having the security to make your own choices. Another lesson that resonates deeply is, spend so much time on self-improvement that you have no time to criticize others. In today's world, it's easy to fall into the habit of comparing yourself to others or judging them for their choices. But my grandfather's words remind me that our energy is much better spent on our own growth. The more you focus on improving yourself, the less you feel the need to criticize others. Self-improvement is a lifelong journey. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, not about tearing others down to feel better. Self-worth and boundaries. Don't allow someone to treat you poorly just because you love them. This was a tough lesson to learn, but one of the most valuable. Love is a powerful emotion, and sometimes it can blind us to how we're being treated. My grandfather taught me that love should never come at the cost of your self-respect. If someone is treating you poorly, it's not a reflection of your worth but of their inability to love you properly. Setting boundaries, even with people you love, is essential to maintaining your self-worth and well-being. True love respects boundaries, and it should never require you to sacrifice your dignity. He also said, learn to say no without feeling guilty, it protects your time and priorities. Saying no is something that a lot of people struggle with, especially if you're someone who likes to help others. But my grandfather's words are a reminder that your time is valuable. Saying yes to everything means that you end up overcommit, stressed, and with little time for yourself. Learning to say no is about recognizing what's truly important and protecting your time so that you can focus on the things that matter most to you. It's not about being selfish, it's about being intentional with your energy. Patience and resilience in the face of hardship. Another important piece of wisdom is, the patient should not hide his illness from the doctor, and the poor man should not cover his poverty in front of his friends. This lesson is about vulnerability and honesty. My grandfather believed that true strength comes from acknowledging your struggles. Whether it's health, financial difficulties, or emotional challenges, hiding your problems only makes them worse. It's okay to ask for help, to admit that you're struggling. Vulnerability isn't a weakness, it's a sign of strength. By being honest about your struggles, you open the door for support, understanding, and growth. He also reminded me that the funniest people are often the saddest ones. This insight has always stayed with me because it speaks to the hidden struggles that people face. Humor can be a powerful coping mechanism, a way to mask pain and bring joy to others even when you're hurting inside. It's a reminder to be kind to everyone you meet because you never know what battles they might be fighting. The people who make us laugh the most often carry the heaviest burdens, and a little kindness can go a long way in making their day a bit brighter. Embracing simplicity and letting go of pride. My grandfather also believed in the value of simplicity. Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. We often overthink, overanalyze, and overcomplicate our lives. But at its core, life is simple. It's about love, connection, growth, and joy. The more we focus on what truly matters, the more we realize that a lot of the complications we face are self-imposed. Simplifying your life, letting go of unnecessary worries, possessions, and expectations, can bring a sense of peace and fulfillment that's hard to find when you're constantly chasing more. Another valuable piece of advice is, close some doors, not because of pride, incapacity, or arrogance, but simply because they no longer lead somewhere. Letting go is hard, whether it's a relationship, a job, or a goal that no longer serves you. But my grandfather taught me that holding on to something that no longer brings you joy or growth is not a sign of strength, it's a sign of fear. Closing a door doesn't mean you've failed, it means you've grown, and you're ready for the next chapter. It's about trusting that new opportunities will come, even if it's hard to see them at the moment. Hard work, courage, and facing consequences. Excuses won't fix your problems, take responsibility for your actions. My grandfather was always straightforward when it came to accountability. It's easy to make excuses when things don't go our way, to blame others or external circumstances. But my grandfather believed that true growth comes from owning your actions, both good and bad. Taking responsibility means accepting that you have control over your life and that your choices matter. It's not always easy, but it's the only way to learn from your mistakes and move forward. He also said, being human means having doubts and yet still continuing on your path. Doubt is a natural part of life, especially when you're facing challenges or pursuing something important to you. My grandfather taught me that courage isn't the absence of doubt, it's the ability to keep going despite it. Every worthwhile journey comes with moments of uncertainty, but those moments are what make the end result so rewarding. Doubt is just a sign that you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, and that's where true growth happens. The impact of thoughts and actions. Work on clearing your thoughts. If you do not have bad thoughts, there will be no bad deeds. My grandfather believed in the power of the mind. Our thoughts shape our actions, and if we can control our thoughts, we can control our behavior. Negative thoughts lead to negative actions, but by working on cultivating a positive mindset, we can change the way we interact with the world. It's about being mindful of what you allow to occupy your mind, because what starts as a thought often ends up as an action. He also spoke about the value of small actions. It is better to light one small candle than to curse the darkness. In difficult times, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the enormity of the problem. But my grandfather believed that even the smallest positive action can make a difference. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, focus on what you can do to make it better, even if it's just a small step. Lighting a candle doesn't eliminate the darkness entirely, but it brings light to your immediate surroundings, and sometimes, that's enough to make a difference. Valuing relationships and living with gratitude. What you yourself will do for your parents, expect the same from your children. This lesson is about the cyclical nature of love and care within families. My grandfather always emphasized the importance of treating your parents with respect and care, knowing that one day, you will be in their position. The way you treat those who raised you sets an example for your own children. It's a reminder that love, respect, and care are passed down through generations, and the way you act today will influence how you are treated in the future. He also reminded me to be happy with what you have, but strive for the best. Contentment and ambition aren't mutually exclusive. My grandfather believed in appreciating what you have while still working towards your goals. It's about finding a balance between gratitude and growth, being thankful for where you are, while always striving to be better. Contentment doesn't mean settling, it means recognizing the value of what you have while pushing yourself to achieve even more. That's it for this part of my grandfather's wisdom. If these lessons resonate with you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next part. Let me know in the comments which piece of wisdom you found most impactful. Let's continue this journey together, learning and growing every step of the way. Section 5. The Power of Reflection, Choosing Your Company, and Embracing Failure. One of my grandfather's most profound lessons was about the importance of reflection. He often said, 3 paths lead to knowledge, the path of reflection is the noblest, the path of imitation is the easiest, and the path of experience is the most bitter. Reflection allows us to learn from our own thoughts, to understand our past actions, and to make better choices in the future. It's a path that requires honesty and self-awareness, but it's also the path that leads to true wisdom. Imitation can be useful. We often learn by following in the footsteps of those who have come before us, but it's not the same as truly understanding why we do what we do. An experience, though a powerful teacher, often comes with a cost. My grandfather's words remind me that taking time to reflect can save us from making the same mistakes over and over again. He also believed in the importance of choosing the right company. Befriend those who expand your thinking, not just your circle. The people we surround ourselves with have a huge impact on our lives. My grandfather taught me that true friends are those who challenge you, who push you to grow, and who inspire you to be better. It's easy to stay within your comfort zone, to stick with people who make you feel comfortable but don't push you to evolve. But growth comes from being around those who inspire you, who introduce you to new ideas, and who support you in your journey of self-improvement. Another valuable lesson was about embracing failure. There are 1,000 lessons in defeat, but only one in victory. Failure is often seen as something to avoid, but my grandfather believed that it's in our failures that we find the most growth. When we succeed, we rarely stop to analyze why. But when we fail, we're forced to reflect, to learn, and to adapt. Failure teaches us resilience, it teaches us to persevere, and it helps us understand what doesn't work so that we can find what does. It's easy to fear failure, but my grandfather's wisdom reminds me that each setback is an opportunity to learn and to grow. The importance of action and the danger of inaction. Another powerful piece of advice my grandfather shared was, the superior man is modest in his speech but exceeds in his actions. Words are easy, they can be used to make promises, to boast, or to impress others. But true character is shown through actions. My grandfather always believed that what you do is far more important than what you say. Modesty in speech doesn't mean downplaying your accomplishments, it means letting your actions speak for you. It's about focusing on doing the work rather than talking about it. In a world where so much emphasis is placed on appearances, my grandfather's words are a reminder to prioritize substance over style. He also had strong feelings about the danger of inaction. If you do not act, you risk losing everything. This lesson is about the importance of taking initiative. Life won't wait for you, and opportunities won't just fall into your lap. My grandfather believed that it's far better to take a risk and fail than to do nothing and wonder what could have been. Inaction leads to regret, and regret is one of the heaviest burdens to carry. Whether it's a personal goal, a career move, or a relationship, taking action, even if it's scary, is the only way to create the life you want. It's about being proactive, not waiting for circumstances to change but changing them yourself. Trusting yourself and managing expectations. Another piece of wisdom that stands out is, one who believes in himself has no need to convince others. Confidence is a quiet strength. When you truly believe in yourself, you don't need external validation. My grandfather taught me that self-belief comes from knowing your worth, from understanding your strengths and accepting your weaknesses. It's not about arrogance or feeling superior to others, it's about having a deep sense of who you are and what you stand for. When you have that, you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You can move through life with a sense of purpose and authenticity, regardless of what others think. He also spoke about expectations. You will never be truly happy if you constantly seek validation from others. This one is tough because we all want to be liked, appreciated, and recognized. But my grandfather knew that relying on others for validation is a losing game. People's opinions are fickle, and basing your happiness on what others think means that your sense of self-worth is always at the mercy of someone else's judgment. True happiness comes from within, it comes from knowing who you are, what you value, and living in alignment with that, regardless of what others think or say. The balance of giving and receiving. Give without expecting anything in return, but do not allow yourself to be taken for granted. My grandfather was a generous man, but he also understood the importance of balance. Giving is one of the most rewarding things you can do, whether it's giving your time, your energy, or your resources. But he also taught me that it's important to protect yourself from those who might take advantage of your generosity. It's about setting boundaries, about understanding that giving should come from a place of love and not from a place of obligation or expectation. When you give without expecting anything in return, you experience the true joy of generosity, but it's also okay to recognize when someone is taking more than they're giving back. He also had a saying, never settle for anything or anyone that diminishes your self-worth. This ties back to the idea of knowing your value and not compromising on what matters to you. It's easy to settle for less, especially when you fear being alone or when you think you don't deserve more. But my grandfather's words remind me that settling for less than you deserve erodes your sense of self-worth over time. Whether it's a relationship, a job, or any other aspect of life, knowing what you deserve and refusing to accept anything less is a powerful act of self-respect. Facing adversity with strength. Life sometimes separates people so that they can realize how much they mean to each other. Separation is often painful, whether it's temporary or permanent. But my grandfather believed that distance can bring clarity. When you're apart from someone, you have the space to truly understand their impact on your life. It's in those moments of separation that you realize just how much someone means to you, and that realization can make the reunion even more meaningful. It's a reminder that sometimes, being apart is necessary for growth, both individually and within a relationship. He also emphasized resilience. Maturity is when you have the power to destroy someone who did you wrong but choose not to. This speaks to the strength that comes from restraint. When someone wrongs us, the natural reaction is to want to retaliate. But my grandfather believed that true maturity lies in letting go of the need for revenge. It's about understanding that hurting someone else doesn't heal your own pain. By choosing to walk away, by choosing to let go, you show strength, not just to others, but to yourself. It's about rising above the pettiness of revenge and focusing on your own growth. The power of humility and letting go. Another important lesson, the man who says he can and the man who says he can't are both correct. This is one of my grandfather's simplest but most powerful teachings. Our beliefs shape our reality. If you believe you can do something, you're already halfway there. Conversely, if you convince yourself that you can't, you've already decided the outcome. It's about mindset. Believing in your ability to overcome challenges, to grow, and to succeed is crucial. Your thoughts are powerful, and they can either propel you forward or hold you back. The choice is yours. He also taught me about the importance of letting go. Learn to miss someone without wanting them back. This is such a powerful lesson because it's about accepting what is. There are people who come into our lives and make a huge impact, but not everyone is meant to stay. My grandfather believed that it's okay to miss someone, to remember the good times, to appreciate the memories, without needing them back in your life. It's about recognizing that some people are meant to be part of our story for a while, but not forever. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting, it means accepting and moving forward. Moving towards growth. Close some doors, not because of pride, incapacity, or arrogance, but simply because they no longer lead somewhere. Letting go of something that no longer serves you can be incredibly difficult, whether it's a relationship, a job, or even a dream. But my grandfather's wisdom reminds me that closing a door doesn't mean failure, it means growth. It means recognizing that you've outgrown a situation, and it's time to move forward. It's about trusting that new opportunities will present themselves and that you're capable of navigating whatever comes next. That's it for part 5 of my grandfather's wisdom. If these lessons are resonating with you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the final part. Share in the comments which piece of wisdom spoke to you the most, and let's keep learning from these timeless teachings together. 6. Embracing imperfection, gratitude, and living fully. As we come to the final section of my grandfather's wisdom, I want to share some of his most profound lessons that revolve around accepting life's imperfections, embracing gratitude, and learning to live fully in each moment. One of the most impactful things he ever told me was, "You learn nothing from life if you think you're right all the time." We often go through life wanting to be right, holding on to our perspectives and refusing to see things from someone else's point of view. But my grandfather taught me that true growth comes from questioning ourselves, from recognizing that we don't have all the answers. Humility is the key to learning. The willingness to admit that you could be wrong opens you up to new ideas, new perspectives, and new possibilities. Another powerful reminder he gave me was, no matter how much you want, the more you have, the more people will envy you. He knew that the pursuit of material wealth often leads to dissatisfaction. There's nothing wrong with wanting comfort or success, but my grandfather always reminded me that the more you accumulate, the more people around you might envy or resent you. True happiness doesn't come from accumulating things, it comes from experiences, relationships, and personal growth. Wealth can bring comfort, but it can also create distance between you and others. The key is to enjoy what you have without letting it define your worth. The importance of honesty and acceptance. He also believed in the power of honesty. Every time you lie, you are creating problems that you will have to deal with in the future. This lesson is about the importance of integrity. Lies, no matter how small, have a way of catching up with you. They create complications, misunderstandings, and mistrust. My grandfather always emphasized that honesty, though sometimes difficult, is always the better path in the long run. When you're honest, you don't have to keep track of stories or worry about being found out. Honesty brings peace, with others and with yourself. Another profound insight he shared was, learn to miss someone without wanting them back. This lesson is about acceptance. There are people who come into our lives, leave a significant mark, and then, for whatever reason, they're no longer part of our journey. My grandfather believed that it's okay to miss those people, to cherish the memories without needing them back in your life. Not every person is meant to stay forever, and that's okay. It's about appreciating what was, without trying to recreate it. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting, it means finding peace with what was and moving forward. Living with intention and taking responsibility. Another lesson that resonates deeply is, the man who says he can and the man who says he can't are both correct. This is all about the power of belief. What we believe about ourselves often becomes our reality. If you believe you can achieve something, you're far more likely to take the steps needed to make it happen. But if you convince yourself that something is impossible, you've already set yourself up for failure. My grandfather's words remind me that our thoughts are powerful. Believing in yourself is the first step to accomplishing anything. He also spoke about responsibility. Excuses are always there and easy to make, finding a way is what takes courage. It's easy to find reasons why something can't be done. Excuses give us an out, a way to avoid taking risks or facing challenges. But my grandfather believed that courage lies in finding solutions, in taking action even when it's difficult. Life will always present obstacles, but it's up to us to find a way through them. It's about taking ownership of our lives and refusing to let excuses hold us back. The power of gratitude. Be happy with what you have, but strive for the best. This is one of my grandfather's simplest yet most powerful teachings. Gratitude and ambition aren't mutually exclusive. He taught me to appreciate the present, to be thankful for what I have, without losing the drive to improve and achieve more. Gratitude grounds us, it reminds us of all the good in our lives, even when things aren't perfect. But striving for the best keeps us moving forward, pushing us to grow and to make the most of our potential. It's about finding that balance, appreciating today while working towards a better tomorrow. Another important lesson is, if you are the smartest person in the room, then you are in the wrong room. Growth comes from challenge, from being around people who inspire and push you to be better. My grandfather believed that if you're always the smartest person in your circle, you're not growing. It's important to seek out people who challenge your ideas, who introduce you to new perspectives, and who encourage you to keep learning. Comfort is easy, but growth requires stepping into the unknown and surrounding yourself with those who push you beyond your limits. Facing life's challenges with strength. He also said, hard work doesn't always guarantee success, but laziness almost certainly guarantees failure. This lesson is about persistence. There are no guarantees in life. Sometimes, even our best efforts don't lead to the outcome we want. But my grandfather believed that the effort is always worth it. Hard work builds character, teaches discipline, and opens doors, even if it doesn't always lead to immediate success. On the other hand, doing nothing, letting opportunities pass by because we're afraid or unwilling to put in the work, guarantees that we'll stay exactly where we are. Success might not always come easily, but it will never come to those who don't try. Another powerful reminder is, when anger rises, think of the consequences. Anger is a natural emotion, but it's also one that can lead to actions we regret. My grandfather always taught me that it's important to take a step back when you're angry, to think about the consequences before saying or doing something that might hurt others or yourself. It's about practicing restraint, understanding that emotions are temporary, but the impact of our actions can last much longer. Taking a moment to breathe, to reflect, can make all the difference in how a situation unfolds. Learning from defeat and choosing courage. There are 1,000 lessons in defeat, but only one in victory. My grandfather often spoke about the value of failure. When we win, we rarely stop to think about why, we simply celebrate the success and move on. But when we lose, we're forced to reflect, to analyze what went wrong, and to learn from it. Defeat is a powerful teacher, one that forces us to grow in ways that victory never can. It's easy to fear failure, but my grandfather believed that each defeat is an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to come back stronger. He also taught me, close some doors, not because of pride, incapacity, or arrogance, but simply because they no longer lead somewhere. Letting go is hard, especially when we've invested time, energy, or emotion into something. But my grandfather's words remind me that sometimes, holding on is more harmful than letting go. Not every path is meant to be followed forever, and recognizing when it's time to move on is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's about trusting that new opportunities will come, that there are other paths to explore, and that letting go creates space for new growth. The journey of self-discovery. If you are never alone, you cannot know yourself. This lesson is about the importance of solitude. In today's constantly connected world, it's easy to avoid being alone with our thoughts. But my grandfather believed that solitude is essential for self-discovery. It's in those quiet moments, free from distractions, that we truly come to understand ourselves, our fears, our dreams, our values. Being alone isn't the same as being lonely. It's about creating space for reflection, for growth, and for understanding who we are beyond the roles we play in other people's lives. And finally, one of his most beautiful lessons: we have two lives, and the second begins when we realize we only have one. Life is precious, and it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day routine, forgetting just how limited our time is. My grandfather's words remind me that there's often a moment of realization, a moment when we truly understand that life is finite, and that's when we begin to live fully. It's about making the most of every moment, cherishing the people we love, taking risks, and not waiting for tomorrow to do what matters today. When you understand that you only have one life, you start to make choices that bring you joy, fulfillment, and peace. And with that, we wrap up this journey through my grandfather's incredible wisdom. If these lessons have resonated with you, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any future content. I'd love to hear from you. Which of these lessons spoke to you the most? Leave a comment below and let's keep this conversation going. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and remember, the best way to honor wisdom is to put it into action. Let's keep learning, growing, and making the most of this one precious life we have.